So Dr. Song Gao from University of Wisconsin-Madison, Department of Geography, go on ahead and you can start your talk.
Yeah, thank you, Khalil. Hello, everyone.
Mhm.
Today I'm going to present a joint research with my colleagues from MIT Sensible City Lab and Peking University and the Chinese University of Hong Kong. The title of this research is Uncovering Conspicuous Places Using Social Media Check-ins and Street View Images, and the lead author is Dr. Zhang Fang from MIT. And as we know, in location business, and the location is very important to place a point of interest. And there is a Chinese saying that if your drink tastes really good, you don't need to worry about the location of your bar. So which indicate that although the location is important, but you can also think about the cuisine and also the drink. And so we talk a lot about the conceptualization of places or computational model place or sensor place in this symposium, and a location that has been given meaning by human difference experience. We call it a place. In this figure, we show you two different Peking dark restaurants. So I don't know which one you'd like to go, left or right one. Most people probably will go the right one, and that is actually a famous tourist, a visitor place. Is a famous Peking duck restaurant brand, but locals may go to left. It's just not because of the appearance, but because the cuisine on the left, Peking duck restaurant is actually very delicious and very good. So in this research, we propose a data-driven framework to uncover such inconspicuous places, but actually are very popular and attractive to local people. And in order to do that, we need to identify different point of interest attractiveness to different groups of people, such as locals versus visitors, and to understand the human's perception about the surrounding environment. So as we can see from the appearance, so which can be captured from those different photos. So the framework we propose include four aspects, namely place, local, and including those cityscape, which can be captured by street view images. And you may also incorporate like traffic information. And the second is place type. We already talked a lot about this in previous talks about different categories or different types of their places, such as bars or parks. And we are also utilize social media check-ins. And in this research, we utilize one data source I will mention in the following slide. And lastly, because we hope to understand different groups of people's behavior, so we want to differentiate, the locals versus the visitors' sense of place. And their first task is to derive the place types and then the associated human activity. In this case, we utilize the Xinlang Weibo check-ins, which is largest social media platform in China and similar to the Twitter. It includes over 3 million records containing about 20,000 point of interest and from over 800,000 users. And those are the six types we investigate, and within the parentheses showing the number of POIs included in the study. And on the right side, you can see the spatial distribution of those different types of POIs, and also their the checking frequency distribution. And then the second step is that we will have those checking information because it is at the individual level. We are able to identify those users, whether they are being local people or are visitors. So in this case, we have tried two approaches. So namely, you can based on the most frequently visited city from a user profile, and which can be defined its residence. And another approach is based on our previous work. We can also based on the sequence of the cities or places a user visited and to construct a chain of the cities. And then we can, assumption that whenever a user travel to a different city, he or she will come back to the residence city. So that is why, when we look at those round trips, we can also identify the residence of a user. So based on the two approaches, we found that, like say for the city of Beijing in our study area, about 39.56% of users are from non-Beijing people. So this is on the bottom. We show you the first figure, show you the spatial distribution around China about those visitors who have visited Beijing, the capital city of China. And the second showing the spatial pattern of those local users' activity distribution. And the third is the spatial distribution of the visitors. So you can see there are several overlapping between the locals and then the visitors, but there are also differences. If you are familiar with the city, you'll know that the center, so that is the Forbidden City, so one of the famous tourist place in Beijing. Also, there are several other places to visit in the city. And then after we get this, the checking intensity information, we can further compute the score. That is the ratio of the visits by local versus by visitors. We define a ratio as being local. That is number of visits divided by the total number of visits, and that is if we get a ratio larger than 0.5, and then those POIs are considered as more popular around the local people. And then regarding the place locale, we talk about in this particular study we only consider the cityscape. So that is getting the surrounding environment from those street view images. We collected a lot of images from two sources. One is directly from the like location-based service Tencent Maps, which is also one of the leading navigation map service in China, similar to Google Maps, and we can collect their street view images. And another is a social media platform, which was more popular around from 2005 to 2016. That is Panoramio, and it also has a lot of photos. Most of them actually are shared by visitors because of the popularity of the platform in the Western country. And after that, we utilize a multitask deep learning model to derive the place perception score, which actually is based on another project from MIT, the place pause, and to identify how human, when they saw those different types of images, how they feel about this neighborhood. So feel safe, feel safely, beautiful, messy, boring, or depressing. And then you can have different scores from this model for each surrounding of the POIs. And this is the spatial distribution of the 6th dimension of the human perceptions in the city of Beijing. You can see the spatial heterogeneity around those different dimensions. And after we have those pre-processing steps, so we can formally define, so what is the inconspicuous place. So let's look at those two different categories respectively. For the local restaurants, so first of all, we need to have a category that is it has a definition of catering. We're providing some service on food, and because we are more interested in the local conspicuous restaurant, so we need to have this RP, this local score larger than 0.5, or you can set other thresholds you want, because this is a computational model. And lastly, because if you remember the first example, I show you the Peking Duck restaurant, and maybe the appearance is by the perception might be boring. However, because of the cuisine and the food actually very delicious, so this is why they are very popular in the social media or in those check-ins. So this is a combination of different aspects. We can define this is a local inconspicuous restaurant. So that is, if you remember, this is the definition. And another category, let's say, how about those inconspicuous outdoor places? So then we can change this part. So this time, the more popularity should be among the visitors. So which are uncovered by those visitors, because they usually go to like Forbidden City or Summer Palace, those well-known places. And however, for those inconspicuous outdoor places, we actually found based on Street View images, so their beautiful score is actually very high, but their popularity based on the social media checking are very low. So those combination contribute to the conspicuous outdoor places. And again, this is the same model, and then we try to combine those two different types. We can define the inconspicuous degree of places. You can see that for restaurant, and we because we want to have the capability to discover those places which are boring. Thus is important to the boring score, but also in portion to the local popularity score. But for the outdoor, for the popularity, we want that the quantity is low. So this is why we use a maximum visits frequency minus the actual visit frequency of a point of interest, and times the beauty score. So which means that then we can unify such scores across different dimensions, different categories, and to define the degree of the inconspicuous for a place. So which means that no matter for which category, and a higher score of S will be the candidates for our definition of the inconspicuous places. So this is the result, and for the restaurant in the figure, we show you the first figure show you the first of all each dot is a different point of interest, and then the x-axis showing the boring score from those Street View images, and the y-axis showing you the popularity of the local visits. So as we said, for those orange dots, they have high boring score, but also high popularity, which are our targets of those inconspicuous local restaurants. And this are their spatial distribution of those restaurants. You can actually see there are a lot of in Chinese in Hutong, in Beijing. So which actually very popular by local people. And you can see, as you can see from their Street View images, they may not necessarily be located in those main streets, but in those narrow hutong, but their food actually are very good. This is why they are so popular in the social media and also by local people. And for the outdoor parks or places, similarly setting, you can see that this time we want to discover those, the human perception score of beauty is high. So this is why this time is at this corner, but they are under visited by those visitors. So this is why the y-axis is low. So those are the orange dots, and you can see their spatial distribution as well. And from those appearance in the last figure, you can see a lot of there are green places. So this is why based on the Street View images scoring, they have a very high beauty score. So in summary, in one important direction GIS science is a place-based GIS, in which we aim to formalize places from the digital world and bridge the gaps between the informal world of human activities and human conversation, and then the computational world of a digitally represented geography. And from this particular study, we can see that in order to represent those places, we need multiple perspective. We show you a data-driven framework to characterize places regarding the place type, their human activity, the visitor group, and then the place locale using social media checking data, and then the Street View images. So if you are interested in this work, you can read this publication, and I'm also happy to answer your questions or comments. So thank you for your attention.